The is-is-not analysis. It's one of our basic tools, but I feel it needs a bit more explaining because it is not so basic to use. Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where we talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. In today's video, it is about the is-is-not analysis. And when I see this title, I just can't stop thinking about to be or not to be. That is the question. But this is not the question for the is-is-not analysis, even though many people use it like that. See, to be or not to be is really about the being part, right? So not to be is the poor state. It is, are you gonna man up? Are you going to be? The is-is-not analysis treats both of them as equally important parts. And what I see too often is people say, we want to focus on what it is. Right? So where did it happen? Very precisely. With which products did it happen? How much specifically? While this is very good information and you should have those, the is not column isn't used to just give the other answer. Right? So if it was on the cookies product, the is not going to be all other products in the factory. That isn't useful to us. If it just happened only once and only with the cookies, you can put it there, get it done. But when it really shines is when we expect it, based on the incident that we are now analyzing, that we expect it to also happen somewhere else. We checked and it wasn't the case. That is key information. So the is not column in an is-is-not analysis is really to capture those things that you know for certain are not true, that you checked, and the best ones are where you actually thought that based on what you've seen, it would be sort of logical, that it would be, that it would, is, but it wasn't. So when we say this happened during the day, we generally actually use is-is-not in combination with the 5 W's, 5 W's, 2 H's. This is also step 2 in my problem-solving tool. So if you don't know that one yet, go and download it and use it. This is a very basic way to describe what's happening or what happened when you're analyzing a problem. So the 5 W's, not the 5 Y's. This is the who was there, where did it happen, what specifically happened, what was affected, which product, things like that, right? So really describe what we're seeing. And we can say, it happened during a day shift. If this particular problem happened, once and hasn't happened for the last 2 or 3 months or so, this is about all that we want to have there. But if based on this, we do a little analysis and we see that last week it also happened on a day shift. Then 3 weeks ago we have 2 occurrences also in day. We've never seen it in a night shift, even though the product is made during the night. That's strange. That's strange. That means we need to put it down. Only if this is giving extra information. So day, automatically night? No. But day, and we've seen it happen a couple of times during the day, but we hardly ever, or even never, right? But also if it is significantly more during the day, if it happens 3 times more during the day, even though you don't have 3 times as much production volume during the day, then you put it here. You say, hey, wait, not during the night shift. Or it is a specific shift. So shift A happens a lot. Shift B and C seem to have it. Shift D never has it. B and C are missing. Somebody can also say this is a nice thing of the is-is-not. If you write it all down, hey, wait, but B and C, well, we've seen it happen with them a couple of times. Not as badly as with A, but tends to happen. D never had it. Look back 2 months, didn't see it happen in their shifts ever. That's interesting. We should have a chat and see what they're doing differently. We should also check what they're doing differently, right? So this is how you gather information. Sometimes you will also see that, it was in the cookies, it was in the cake, but it was not in the chocolates and the toffee. Well, toffee is also heated, so it's not per se the heating area. It might be that these are, and it probably will be that these are different areas of the factory, but also here we've got flour added. That might be something. I mean, they all have sugar. These have eggs, they don't. These have flour, they don't. Maybe it's in the type of ingredient. Maybe it's in the type of reaction that those ingredients have. This is good information to know, especially if they do use roughly the same operator pool, or when we are closer together with the products, right? These products are pretty far apart, but you can imagine that you have a number of products where you see this defect happening, and all of those products, they are 10, 12 centimeters long, and all of the products that are a bit shorter, like 8 centimeters, 6 centimeters, they never have this problem, never. They are in the same lines, but then, of course, something is with maybe the molds, but if you have different molds for 10 and 12 and 8 and 6, then, well, yeah, it might still be the molds, but then you start to look for something that's like, do they have to pass through something where being longer than 10 centimeters creates a problem? But these are the type of things that you want to put in the is-not column. Now, also sometimes you are just looking for stuff and you don't really even have an is. Somebody just says, well, but I mean, doesn't this happen directly after cleaning? Because it would be logical if the line is still wet and whatever reason they have, right? And you check. No. First 2-3 hours after cleaning or initial setup. Never. That's interesting information as well. Because if this is just a random problem, it should have happened directly after setup also a couple of times, right? Depends on how long you look back. But that gives you clues on maybe it is because a setting drifts during a production run, or maybe something vibrates and loosens or whatever, right? So those are critical pieces of information that you get from what is it not. So what did we check and we found not to be true? You use this tool mostly together with the journalist questions, the 5 W's and the 1 or 2 H's, but you can also use it as a standalone tool. Just describe it, not really forcing it into this schema, but still you will describe what is happening. And especially with problems, this is a bit of a problem analysis tool, not per se an improvement or ideas for improvement tool, because you want to describe a specific type of situation. But you can split what you are describing in different ways. You could also put your 4 or 6 M's here, get that as a way to draw out the brainstorm. But again, this is a tool. It is meant to trigger thoughts. So it is a brainstorming tool, basically. Not. It is a way, it's a thinking tool. It's a way to get your group to think and to consider those sort of logical conclusions that you wouldn't have drawn straight from the beginning because you see gaps somewhere, right? So the question, what about shifts B and C? It's typical, something that you see, A has it, D never has it, the rest is sort of. Somebody else might come in and say, oh, I do know that shift A has a bunch of new people. Same with this, right? So we see it with those products, we don't see it with those products. What's different between those products? Maybe a lot, and then it's not very useful. But maybe these are products that are produced in the same line, something like that. And it does happen with these, doesn't happen with these. Interesting. Maybe it always happens to the second product in a batch of 6. Now, very likely it's a problem with the mold, or maybe with a sort of sensor pusher system. Interesting to see such a trend. That comes from this system. So next time that you do an is-not analysis, whether or not you do it together with the more structured journalist questions, know that the is-not column isn't meant just to make the anti of the is column. It does have a meaning. It is to put things that you have checked Also, don't just fill it with, well, we've only seen it for the day, so we'll put night there. Check if you would have expected it in the night. Take a sufficiently large history that you also sorta should have gotten a couple of hits during the night. If that is all true and you still don't see it, then you put it down. And like that, you are going to increase the efficiency and the use you're going to get out of the is-not analysis. Now, if you like that, don't forget to hit that like button. If there's another CI tool that you're struggling with a bit or just want my take on the tool, put it in the comments. For now, I wish you the best of luck with your analyses, solving your problems, and as always, don't forget to enjoy the continuous improvement journey.